has an innate ability. And I can already see from my screen that we off with the 5 minute plus 1 second portion. So we're going to have 45 minutes of this time control, and then time gets slashed to 3 minutes. And then finally, everything's going to be decided by bullet.
Yes, we see a reverse Grimfall. That's what I see. And they are playing very fast, almost as if it would be a bullet game. B3. Yes. Wow, very strange decision by white. Unusual to go. Usually you go c4 and try to break the center, right? So black has a very strong center there with the pawns on d5, e5. So b3 and bishop b2 is definitely not challenging black's opening preparation.
No, it certainly isn't. And now she's going e3, playing to restrain these pawns. Unusual approach there from Alice, and already because as you mentioned, black has the center. Not often you're given that with the black pieces. H6.
I don't know if H6 was necessary. Because maybe already I would consider to play E4, playing knight D4, knight E5, bringing the pieces. So if black is slow and white can play rook D1, rook C1, C4, then it could be just okay. But let's see, H3 is a must.
Yep.
Provocation. Come, play G4.
Judith, I like it.
No, I don't want to play G4. I'm just saying it's Sara is provoking because white has to move away with the queen if she doesn't want to go G4 because E4 is just right there winning a piece.
Yeah.
So white played E4.
Yes. But at the same time, that kind of concedes control over the D4 square. But decision, there's a lot of tension in the center. Now, I know the engine's probably going to be like, just go D4, take the space, get going. But actually, now I think about it. Yeah, now I think about it, pawn takes pawn isn't a threat because black can just go E4 themselves. So why not?
You know what would be a great move if it would be legal? F5 with black. But I like your legal move of knight d4.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sara already just asking questions of the young teenager. And there we see bishop takes knight g4. Ooh.
You see, provocation.
Yeah, but how are you going to deal with this tension against e4?
E5, and then bishop would take on c2. Okay, so knight d4, d takes e4, but that g4 gives so many weaknesses, especially that white has no black square bishop. Exactly. So you have several ways of trying to reach that. Knight c4, very logical to trying to get rid of the d6 bishop. At the same time, the f4 square is very tempting for black to regroup his knight. But you might as well keep your bishop and only later on to go knight d5. Why to give up the bishop? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but still this is looking really promising because now the knight comes into f4, no questions asked.
But knight on b5. Knight on b5 is very badly placed.
Yes.
Rook d8.
Completely offside.
Rook d3.
Yeah, I would go rook d8.
A6. Look at that. A6 is possible also. Though after knight c3, queen c3, queen f4.
Yes, knight c3. Queen. Okay, maybe we quickly put this on the board. That queen takes c3 is a nice little tactic, but unfortunately queen takes f4 is good enough. Let me refresh. Oops, they let me loose on the board. Hang on, I can go like this and get back to this one. Okay, hang on, there you go.
Okay. So knight d4, rook d8, rook d1. Okay. So maybe it's about time to play knight d3 for black.
Actually, can you? Oh, it's the same. It's the same business, right? If you take the knight.
Yeah, rook d4.
then this knight on f4 is hanging. So rook to d6. Well, it's tempting, right? Double on the d line. But yeah.
Yes, I mean, black pushed back the knight from b5 to e2 all the way, which was not necessary at all. So now white is kind of trying to recover.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is a
I
really
think there white
interesting
had a
decision.
better move. I think white
Yeah,
had
it's-
the better move there.
I was looking at moves like f4, you know, try to...
Me too. And I think that was a good saving.
But
here
okay,
white
now
is...
here...
Queen b6 I like, because if queen e2, queen d4 would be very strong, dominating the position. Here white has some chance. Rook e1, counterplays.
Yeah, it's got eyeballing the e4 pawn. Still some chances, right? You can go queen e3, you can go queen
Absolutely.
a5.
White is very much recovering, and don't forget that it's possible to play queen e3 and then f4, because the queen on e7 is, or now f4. Maybe it's too much, but something, well, I don't see why the rook on the second row would be decisive.
Well, f4 would be a very, very gutsy move.
Yeah, probably queen h4 there. That can be the problem. And queen e3, rook b3.
Yes. Yeah. There would be some tactics there. You don't want to allow the queen to
This
come
is
sniffing
dangerous,
around
I
h4.
think. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
You leave the f2 pawn vulnerable. Maybe... Oh, I don't know. But it's...
Well, queen e5 makes a lot of sense because, as you say, queen takes b7 isn't really possible because of queen f4 or queen
Or
d4.
queen c5.
Yes, queen c5, win a pawn and threaten on f2. So c6 played by Alice. Yeah, I'm nervous about this pawn on f2. I'm nervous about the fact that black has this e3 in the air just to crack open the position. Queen to d4 looks good. Rook f1, only move.
It looks very scary.
It certainly
I mean,
does.
e3, queen e8, queen e8. Oh.
Yep, that is a very
well,
important
it's still not over,
check.
but I think white has to take queen e3, takes, rook b3.
Yeah. Well, maybe black has some chances based on attacking the a pawn. It's not.
Yeah, bishop d5 is a question, but takes on e3. Bishop f7. No, I think it's unpleasant for white. But king f2 maybe is the best. And after rook a3, bishop c6. So white is kind of holding.
Yeah. But Alice,
That's
just
important.
45 seconds. And we've seen the clock play such an important factor in this speed chess championship.
Sara plays very fast.
Yeah. And
and
decisions
she played
were made.
bishop d5. Oy.
Oh, and she played rook e4. I was expecting her to take on h3 and go after the g4 pawn.
Can white play rook f5? But I'm not sure. Takes, g6, takes. Yeah, maybe it's a
Would you do it with 20 seconds left on the clock?
Well, I don't know. I mean, rook a7 is safer. It's safer.
Yeah. And this is a nice move, h4.
Anyway. Or this is a draw. b7, why rook b7? Why not just king f2?
I wonder whether she can just throw in some checks, though. Rook a2, ask the king where it's going to go.
Why would you let the king up? King g3, king f4.
Yeah. The thing is, though, a5 running with the pawn.
Yeah, king h7. h5 is possible also. No, of course, this was the right choice instead of rook f5. This is the practical choice. You know that the position is draw, so you have to go this way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Alice just has to dance with the king between g2 and h2 if Sara ever goes a2. So now maybe Sara will start running with her king towards... Okay, hang on a second.
Okay, takes, and it's a dead draw now. Because even if white would have
No,
What do
now
you
the
mean?
king can run. The king can run.
Hold on. But what do you mean? Rook a5 check?
Yes,
King
and now you
here.
can't. And
Now
I
you
think
can
this
take because
king...
king b4.
Okay, now this... Okay, and according to the evaluation bar, this is a draw, but I think it was just simply to go a2 and then run. Because this king is so badly placed on g2, you can kind of cut it off on d3. Okay, now it's fine.
No, now
Alice is
it's
not in any danger.
well, still it could go wrong because no, this is a
No.
dead draw now.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, the situation is if the white king were on g2, then you could go rook to b3 and you'd cut off
Yes.
the king. And here you see the g pawn. It's going to go all the way, and Sara will have to give up the rook for that pawn. And it was a complete draw. Wow. Well, there were some big moments there for Sara. She had a great
she had a
position
very
out of the
good
opening.
Very good middle game position with weaknesses on for Alice, and even she got the great chances in the rook endgame. But okay, we are into already the second game. Very solid Slav exchange Slav. So let's see what they are up to.
Yes, probably anti-teenager prep, right? No complications. Just
Yes.
take the game into a slight pull.
Psychological weapon.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, Alice goes for a fianchetto system as opposed to actually getting the light squared bishop out into the game. And this one seems to actually promise white a small advantage as opposed to a minuscule advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, making the fianchetto here, maybe it's not so good. I don't know these lines, I didn't play at all, but I know one thing, it's extremely solid. It goes so slowly, right?
It is. Here it's all going to be about those small advantages and the fact that this battery is setting up against a6 and white is the one that's primed to take control over the c line. So this kind of gives, like, I would go rook c2, rook c1, wait. Knight b1.
Maybe white will regroup knight b1. I just wanted to say knight b1 to f3, d to f3, e5.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And you kind of keep in the pocket this pressure against a6. And there you see Alice gives ground. She concedes the c5 square, so knight to d2. Amazing.
Yeah, b5 to get... Well, she plays it in a tactical way, right? She wants to get space. But to get space and play b5, you have a very long-term problem, the c5 square. So once white goes knight f3, knight e5, pushing away the d7 knight from protecting the c5, then rook c5 will come. Interesting that she played b4. Why not to continue her plan with knight f3?
I'm not a big fan of b4 because one of the points of counterplay as black is that you can often go a6, a5 and crack open the a line. And here, actually, it seems to have worked out because Alice didn't go for that and instead allows Sara just to plant the knight on c5. And if I were Alice, I would be moving my queen out of the way, which I cannot do. I just realized. Queen to d6, let's go of the bishop. Oh no, they have rook takes rook.
Well, b4 was played because Sara wanted very much to go from this side with the knight, right? Knight b3 and c5. And if she would have played knight b3 immediately, rook c8, there would be no option for her to play knight c5. So she went the logical way to support her idea. My idea was to go on the other side with knight f3, but let's see how she can improve her position. It
Yeah,
seems very positional.
it certainly does. And the problem for black is what to do. You can build all you like, and you've got a4 in your pocket whenever you want to. So queen to e1, I like. Maybe she's got ideas of going queen h4, and at the right time, queen takes knight.
No, it's interesting. I think the other way around. I don't want to go queen h4, but queen c1.
Ah, well, I did have an idea as well that maybe g4 and set it up. Oh, there you go. There you see Sara do it. And then queen h4, checkmate on the h line.
Okay. Yeah, black can be in trouble.
Yeah, how to... You cannot stop, actually. This queen coming to h4, this rook swinging over. Wow,
So
Alice isn't huge. So yeah, so if you go rook c8 has to be played.
But why did she take on g4 so fast? Well, I mean, rook c8 maybe immediately, and after gh5, rook h8 would be still possible. But rook h2 now. Queen d8, queen g3. It could be queen d8. I mean, the bishop is hanging.
Yeah.
It's kind of... well, Sara played well. I mean, she played very logically, and everything worked out the way she wanted.
Yep, and I'm expecting now rook takes rook, queen h4 in. Exactly. And it's just a nightmare. You have queen and knight, the fearsome duo, against queen and bishop. And this bishop on b7 is so bad. But Sara thinking she has all the time in the world. It's a different style of game, right? 29 moves been played, 3 minutes on the clock. And Sara really displaying a positional masterclass here. Oh.
Yeah, knight d7 I was thinking, but I don't like it because queen c7 and black gets counter chance. I don't know why she didn't play queen e7 first, and then game would be over.
Yeah.
Okay, she went back. Good.
But then now this knight can't move from c5. Whereas if the queen was on e7, this queen would be stuck there on b6. Now this queen is an
very important squares are covered by black now. Very important, the e7 and d8.
Yeah. Now we have a5. Alice desperately trying to open up a line. Yeah. You don't want to be going... You don't want to be trading off queens because this knight is just so much better than its counterpart. So instead you... Whoops, that was me. Let me just refresh. Okay. They let me loose. They trusted in my technical abilities.
But now look at that.
Happen.
Black has counterplay chances. Look at that.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, Sara must be frustrated to let it happen.
Yeah. So f5 played. Oh, but Alice got plenty of time as well to calmly calculate whether white's king is going to be...
Fine check, and let's go from the back.
Right. So the only thing that if I were Alice, I would be concerned about is how far do you check the king? Like, for instance... This white king, you could see it kind of traveling on the dark squares to pay a visit to its counterpart on g8. Okay. So Alice has to be a little bit careful, but it should be a draw.
Well, now it's a question what she plays. Bishop c4 is also possible.
Okay, king g3. I'm not sure about that check. I kind of like queen e1, stopping the white king from... maybe g takes f5 first. King g3. Be careful, Alice. There's only
Yeah.
so much you want this king to start wandering.
Question is whether queen b4 is possible.
Yeah, I like this one, queen e2.
Yeah, to look for counter chances is a good thing.
Threaten the e3 pawn. Stop this white king from wandering. Maybe she has to queen f4, step back. But hang on
So
a
what
second.
happens if king f4? Ah, she went king.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
But now
But-
it's queen e1.
Yeah, and now king g2,
Check.
king h3, maybe
Um,
king h3.
Well,
Yeah, Alice, she takes her chances, and when she's given them, it's going to be a
yeah,
draw.
white king would like to be on e7. That's where it would be happy.
Okay, oh, Alice. Why did she take the pawn? And now the white king really can start running. King g4. Oh, this was
That's
unnecessary. Especially when you only have 20 seconds left.
But when you're young, you have all the self-confidence and you want to go for it.
That's true. But now I'm really
King
worried about Alice's
F4.
position. f6.
King f4.
King f4. Oh, I
to
like
checkmate.
f6. Exactly. Set up a mating net. And queen a5. King h.
Queen g2. I would go queen
Yeah.
g2.
Well, it doesn't matter because all paths lead to the g7 square. Queen g3. Yes, Sara is on the verge of winning this game. Alice, 2 seconds left. Queen, yeah, but now you can give a check. And that's it. The game is going to end queen g7 and then queen to g8 checkmate. So, yeah, disappointing loss from Alice because she fought back so well. But
Yes,
in the
but
end, she
she-
tried to play for more.
But to be honest, Sarah deserved it, basically, because she completely outplayed Alice. And only when it became so obvious if she would not miss queen e7, she would just, as an example, great teaching game.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
And it's come to that time where we ask our chat, who do you think will win? Alice Lee or Sara Khadem? And we are going to ask, and hopefully chat will deliver and give us a verdict of what they expect or what they predict. What do you predict, Judith? Who's impressed you the most so far? It's early days, I know.
Yeah, it's not clear yet. I think Sarah plays well. I mean, she has a clear. She's the clear favorite. She plays better chess, but when we talk about Blitz, you can see that she misses her opportunities time to time. And if Alice is ready to grab them, then she has a chance to have a close fight.
Yes. And interesting that Alice has stepped up and changed to e4. I haven't seen Alice do too much of this. She's traditionally like a d4 player, very classical. But, well, this is showing some specific preparation against Sara, who almost exclusively plays e4, e5 since she was a child. And here comes the result of the poll. We have Sara as the favorite, 62% think that she's going to win, whereas 40, well, now it's actually gone up in Alice's favor, 41% now in favor of Alice. Still very much early days because we are still in the 5 minute plus 1 second time portion, and time is going to get slashed, and that's when we're going to separate what happens, whether there will be a clear favorite or not. Ooh, f3.
Yeah, f3 is interesting, completely blocking the power of the bishop on d5. And the black knight is still far away from f4, which would be the best square for it.
Interestingly enough, I see on the poll that the numbers are not quite stable. That Sara was on 60%, but now she's 55%. So a lot of Alice fans in the chat. And Alice, well, she's maneuvering her knights. I'm scared about these dark square weaknesses around the white king, and the fact that Sara has so much space on the king side.
Well, let's see if f4 kind of move can work out sometimes for black. For now, it seems it's not losing any material for white because of knight g4, h5, and knight f2, and stabilizing for white. So the f4 can only come when it wins some material.
Yeah, but there's no pressure. So you can kind of do funny business like h5. Okay,
Also,
f4.
I would think, oh,
Now
well,
h5.
positionally, it's very risky. Positionally, it's very risky because there is this square on e4 for white, for the white knight.
Can a black argue? Well, as in return, you also can deposit a knight on e3. And sure enough, knight moves to e7. Some calculation involved because queen takes pawn is now possible.
It's not possible to knight d5. And you have to move away queen d4 and then knight e3, attacking the queen and checkmate on g2. So for now, it's not possible.
Don't get greedy. So now, what is the answer then? Do you step back with this knight to e4? Queen comes to e4. Wow, well, isn't that inviting a piece to f5? And sure enough, knight to f5 is the best move on the position, and Sara finds it.
Oh yeah. Clear move. Next move, black would be playing queen g5 and then knight h4.
Yep, it looks amazing. It looks absolutely amazing there from Sara.
White will give a check on c4 and then occupy the e4 square with the knight. But black has this incredible outpost for the knight on e3. King h7. Very strange move. You will not play knight e3 for some time this way.
Yeah. Somehow yes. Okay, maybe it was designed to fight against queen c4 check, but then it is walking into a pin. Yeah, not a fan of that move. Knight takes b7. Wow.
Wow. This is possible. Actually, rook d2 was a good thing. And king on h7, I think it has several problems.
Yeah, the big point is that if you do put the knight on e3.
For example, no, and it's not only that, but if you go bishop b7 takes knight e3, white comes back queen e4.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say there. Oh dear, you have to trade off queens again. Yeah, the king on h7. It's never a good idea to self-pin. So, hang on. And now you can go e4. Maybe e4 is the answer. Give everything. Oh, look.
And after knight e4?
After knight e4, it was just to go knight to e3 and then just say compensation. Queen to g5.
But rook is on d2, so there is no big deal. White can go rook e1, for example.
Yeah, rook e1.
And then you go knight h4, knight d1. I protect the g2.
Yeah, and then the whole... And in fact, Alice plays it, but knight to e3, that's what I would be doing.
Knight d1.
Knight d1.
Knight d1.
Yeah, but she goes rook to d6. Sara is just pretending that she hasn't lost a pawn. Just keep the game alive. And then rook to g6. Okay. That's not so bad. Asking questions. Queen. This knight belongs on e4.
Maybe d4 is possible now, you know? d4 and knight d3.
And put pressure on against e5. Yeah. But to go on their counterattack when black is clearly threatening rook to g6, it's gutsy, and Alice plays it. I like it. I think that X is very harsh, Judith. I think d4 is a good move. I don't like this because I associate X with the noise. It's wrong. But okay, knight to d3. Knight d3 now, as Judith mentioned, cover g2 with the rook. And now Alice is well on the way to stealing the e5 pawn. And with that, black's attack just disappears. So many moves. Knight takes f5, knight takes f4. I can't see a single way.
Unpleasant. Actually, you know what? Knight e5 now. Isn't it possible?
Yes. That's
Knight e5.
That's a beautiful shot.
Knight f7.
Well, should we show the shot? Okay, whilst we're thinking, because the whole thing, knight takes, knight f7.
It doesn't work.
Oh.
But why doesn't it work?
King h7, knight takes queen, knight takes knight.
Because knight takes the knight f3. Oh.
But it was a beautiful idea, Judith.
Trap.
Yeah, and instead of knight to g3, instead of knight takes pawn, queen to d5, e4, queen takes queen, rook takes queen.
Knight f4.
Yeah.
And f takes e4 works too.
And Alice looking like she's going to bounce back. And 12 minutes remaining. Somehow this particular set of games feel a lot slower. It almost feels like classical chess.
Well, after the bullet portion we had in the previous match, yes, indeed.
Yeah, maybe it's just me.
As Katarina Laknos told me when I was interviewing her the other day, that yes, this 5 minutes was so slow. And of course, compared to a bullet, it's a classical game.
Yeah. It does feel like, you know, both sides have all the time in the world. Knight takes h4, okay, but Alice, she is playing ruthless chess, and the players might be on 19 seconds. And this is beautiful shot there from Alice. Rook takes g2, and she picks up the c7 pawn. But do you think Sara can drum up some chances?
I'm sure she can. I mean, it's tricky, you know, when you have these rooks
Rookage
on the second rank, pushing h4, h3. It's not so easy, I understand, but...
Knight g3.
Check.
Yeah,
Well,
but the problem is...
It's queen. It's queen in the next move.
And now Sara employing d4, and this time it's a Nimzo from Alice. No exchange Slav.
But this game can be the last game from the 5 minutes ones, or we have one more. Probably.
Yep, absolutely. 10 minutes remaining, Judith. And knight to e2. C takes d5. And yeah, I'm kind of expecting bishop takes bishop, and then, you know, just prepare c4. Yeah, queen c8 probably has to be played. But hang on a second. I always kind of obsess with c4, but isn't one of the other plans to go f3, e4?
Yes, but after f3, I think queen c6. Rook queen is hanging. Sorry, the knight is hanging there. Of course, the knight is not well placed over there. On a6, it has to be regrouped eventually. But the time is the question.
Yeah. And both players playing very quickly. And okay, so queen b7, keeping an eye on the e4 square. So you knight g3. Be insistent. Rook b1. Okay. I'm not sure about this move. I remember doing some commentary with Yasser, and he was telling us that the rook belongs on a2, so it can swing over once e4 has been achieved.
Yeah, but now rook b1 a5 made a lot of sense, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it also very much depends how much time you have to execute those things.
That's true.
I like this.
Yes. I also think this is a lot more comfortable for white, sorry. But okay, Alice needs to do something about this knight on a6. Don't let it live there. Find a new home for it.
She will. She starts moving it to b8 or c7.
That's exactly what happens. And
yeah, she'll play queen c6, knight bd7.
Setting up a pin.
a6.
Yeah. Knight c6.
I'm not so much impressed by queen a6. Okay, there was a threat of knight a7, so white protected the queen. Maybe oh no, v6 is hanging.
Yeah, that's why she went knight to d7, but e4, I cannot resist any longer. But okay, so bishop to e1 chosen. What's the idea? Now Alice is done. Jump in. Now's the times. But then what does the e4 achieve? Not much. Okay, e4 on the board. Wow. Aha, I'm just reading the chat. Play it like Nepo. Just push the kingside pawns. Indeed. That's sometimes my philosophy. Push, push, push. See how far you can go. And now, okay, knight c4. The queen must move.
Knight is on.
Careful. Chops the
They
knight.
play pretty fast, both of them.
They do. And we're already 25 moves in. But I can tell you, 6 minutes remaining in this portion. But it feels like Alice has a nice stranglehold on the light squares. Like you can see a knight coming into e5. Maybe there's going to be some breaks coming up. b5. Okay. Alice using tactics.
Knight a3.
Knight a3. Forking the two rooks. But bishop h4. Attacking this rook on d8. So rook e8.
The knight on c1 is not very promising, I must say. So it would be about time for white to try to look for a better place.
Well, maybe we might even see a repetition. The bishop comes back. And maybe we might even see a second game. Nope, queen e2. Sara's heeding your words of advice, getting ready to move the knight to d3. Oh, e5. Let's go. And Sara, taking her time.
Well, now of course the c3 is hanging. The e4 will be attacked by queen c6, for example. So black wants to force things, I believe.
Yeah, what do you think about this move? It's very clever by Alice. e5, knight increasing the tension towards e5.
I like knight d3.
I like it too, but rook e8 worries me. Rook e8 and pile on the pressure. I haven't quite assessed whether d5 is going to be okay. Oh, hang on a second. Things are getting critical here because white's pawns are very mobile. They can start doing some serious damage. So Alice must be very, very careful right now.
Yeah, suddenly it's a very nice pawn structure for white. The pawns are ready to be pushed.
Yeah, this is nice. Knight's headed for d5. I also quite like just doing nothing as well. Okay, d5. Sara marching forward. Alice just over the minute, but there's a significant time difference between the pair. Sara with 1.5 minutes extra on the clock.
Yeah, that's an important part of this game. But now what is important most is that there was a very big change in the center, and now suddenly white has an incredible outpost for his knight on c6. And suddenly black's position is getting more vulnerable.
Yeah, I'd also forgotten about the dynamic potential of the rooks coming in as well. And Alice, she's playing good moves though. But it's not easy to play an opponent who just keeps on bashing out those moves instantaneously. So now for Sara, I mean, is knight c6 something? I'm kind of curious whether black could throw in an a knight, not necessarily that one, to e5, or should just go rook e8 and start targeting this pawn on e4. But you got to take that decision with only 25 seconds left on the clock. And yeah, she puts a knight on e5. I like this move from Alice. Even if it comes at the cost of a pawn, this knight on c6 had a serious annoyance power.
That's for sure. That's for sure. The question is how it will be. G takes f3, rook d8, and then maybe white takes on b5. White can be safety with the bishop.
Oh, she dropped a knight. She dropped the knight on c4. Whoa. Oh no.
Oops.
Big blunder there from Alice. Oh.
That was unpleasant.
Just when she was finding all the right moves.
White would have played simply e5.
Yeah. And now there's no checks. So yeah, Sara, rook c3 being ruthless, and we only have 53 seconds left of this time portion. Maybe it's a good idea for Alice just to resign this game, begin a new one. Get a new chance.
Well, it's not clear what time control is their favorite, right? I mean, with 5 minutes, you can have a serious game. With 3, it's already very tricky. And bullet is about concentration, intuition.
Yeah, but we've seen Sara play so quickly. Like right now, she's nurturing a 1-minute lead over her opponent. And she doesn't make massive blunders either. So here, Alice threatening h4. So nice move there from Sara. I would just go h4. Stop black from ever pushing this pawn. Maybe she can even go here. But somehow you kind of want to keep the second rank under control.
Well, you have to go h4 or...
Yeah, you can hide your king. You can hide your king on h3. And you always have these ideas.
Instead of h4.
And yeah, this is definitely going to be the last game that they play because the time has run out with the 5 minute 1 second time, but not so easy. And Sara now down to 12 seconds on the clock. Queen f4, queen... Oi, oi, oi! Judith. She dropped the e4 pawn.
Well, if she will drop the d5 pawn also, then it's not clear at all if she's going to win it.
No.
Oh, wow. What a save by Alice.
Totally. Okay. Oh, no, but she can simply trade off rooks. And there we're going to see a trade of pawns. And Alice saves it. And there you can see the smile from Alice and Sara. She's disappointed because she had that point in the bag after Alice blundered a piece. And that means that there we can see it is completely level, 2.5 points.